This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Love Squarespace. Get started with a free trial at squarespace.com with no credit card required. Squarespace recently launched their latest version, Squarespace 7, which has a completely redesigned interface, new templates, and an incredible new feature called cover pages. Making a website has never been easier. Now, when you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with the offer code RU. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. All right, this episode is brought to you by Bevel. Bevel is that gorgeous box of shaving extravaganza that I talked about earlier. It's the first and only shaving system for men with coarse, curly hair. Clinically proven to reduce and prevent razor bumps. 4 out of 5 men reported reduced razor bumps, discoloration, and irritation. Designed from the ground up to give you a smooth, bump-free shave. Now, they sent me one of these Bevel kits. I gotta tell you, it's gorgeous. The boxing, the packaging, it's just classy. Would really make a great gift. To get your Bevel shaving kit, go to getbevel.com today. Use offer code RU, R-U, to get 20% off your first month. Hey, kids, it's Rue and Michelle. What's the tea, girl?
What's the tea, kitty girl?
Yeah. You know, we are in Hollywood, USA right now, and so many people come here with their dreams. It's the dream factory.
It is.
This is where people come. It's almost like Vegas, but in a different way, you know, where people come here. They're, hoping to hit the jackpot because it seems from the outside, it looks like, it's very easy. Like you're sitting in a soda fountain place.
Right.
If they had those anymore.
Like Mel's Drive-In.
And somebody says, hey, you kid, I could make you a star. And then it happens. But that's rarely the case, is it?
No, not at all anymore. It used to be. I mean, even as soon as far back as Cameron Diaz, she was discovered, you know.
No, but she had been modeling before.
But somebody still discovered her and said, hey, I want you to audition for Jim Carrey's girlfriend in The Mask.
But that doesn't mean that she hasn't had to put in the hard yards since then. Because once you make it, then there's keeping it up, which is actually maybe even a harder proposition. Maybe.
Agreed. I think it's more difficult than actually getting a booking, a first booking, a big break. Because it's not the break, it's maintaining what comes after and getting further and keep going and going and going.
You know, I've said this many times, you know, the work that we do on the television show and even, even the podcast for that matter, it's not hard work. The hard work was put in those 20 years before leading up to this place. Mm-hmm. That's where the hard work.
Have we really been doing it that long?
Well... I'm afraid so.
Because when you say the number 20, it's like, no.
Yeah.
I was in seduction like last week, wasn't I?
I know. But time is all relative. But you're right. And there's no way of letting young people getting the concept of how fast the time goes.
No, and
there's no way,
It does go that fast. And everybody out there, at one point, their mother had told them, you're going to blink and 20 years are going to go by. And they go, whatever. What do you know? Leave me alone and let me go, smoke this joint or leave me alone and make me my dinner. Right. It's, I swear to you. And I tell it to my kids all the time, how quickly it's going to go. They don't want to hear you trying to study that. They ain't trying to hear it. I ain't nobody got time. So I get it. You have to go through it and you have to live it. But, it's really about living each moment and making the most out of each moment. Yeah.
Well, our special guest today is Dan Okay.
Go on.
Dan Bucatinsky.
Yes!
Dan Bucatinsky. And you guys know Dan Bucatinsky from Scandal and
The Comeback.
He's not only is an actor on The Comeback, but he's also the executive producer with Lisa Kudrow.
He plays Billy the publicist.
Yes, and tons of other things. He's brilliant, but he's someone who came to Hollywood all those years ago and has really hit it, and he's still hitting it. He's doing it in a way that most people can only dream of.
He hit it and quit it.
Yes, honey.
He tapped that ass.
He sure did. So he's here with us, and we're going to talk to him about what it takes to make it in Hollywood, and also what it takes to maintain.
Yeah, because he's on both sides of the camera.
Both sides.
There's a lot of producing, writing, and also acting.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
All right. So when we come back, we're going to be talking with Dan Bucatinsky.
You get a prize.
Dan Bucatinsky.
Good boy.
Dan Bucatinsky. Dan Bucatinsky. Right. There.
Bucatinsky. There you go.
Now, before we talk to Dan Bucatinsky, let's take a second to talk about Squarespace. Love Squarespace. You know, you got to have a website. It's that place where you want the public to go to find you and to find out what you're doing. Now, we received some more great emails at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com and tweets about your Squarespace websites. Now, here's an email from Alfredo Ruiz. Love that name. Hi, Ru and Michelle. So glad to be an avid listener to your podcast. I really do enjoy just hearing you guys talk and sprouting out some wisdom now and then. I also think it's great you guys help promote fans' Squarespace sites, and I'm hoping to be on that list. Well, kiddo, you're on it. My name's Fredo, and I'm a graphic designer in Chicago. I'm a quiet guy, but I've always been a fan of fashion and how it can be transformative. As a kid, I distinctly remember hearing Ru's Supermodel of the World and loving it. I was clueless about anything drag, but I just loved the energy and the don't give an F attitude it portrayed. Well, I feel I'm reaching that point in my life where I want to let my freak flag fly, and I'm going to do that in the form of scarves. I love it. I've designed bold and colorful silk scarves with gay sayings I've made up or come across. They're really meant to be very gay, witty, feminine, bold, crass, decadent, and fun. I'm so happy Squarespace is around because I feel I couldn't have made this adventure of mine happen without it. The great thing about using Squarespace is that it already has e-commerce built in. And it's so easy to upload images, track inventory, set up shipping, and manage my online store. I love how quick it was to set up such a professional looking site. Well, again, thanks. I'm a huge fan of the podcast, and I really think you guys are doing a service to the world just by being amazing, honest people. Fredo. Well, Fredo, I'm so happy that you got your website up and running with the help of Squarespace. Now, Fredo's website is heyfredo.com. It's HEYFREDO.com. And I just love this story. I love this letter. Now, if you want to get a free trial with no credit card required, just go to squarespace.com. And when you are blown away and ready to confirm a plan, use the offer code RU to get 10% off. You'll be getting a great deal, and you'll be helping keep What's the Tea free. Thanks again to Squarespace, and keep sending in your websites to RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. We are here with our special guest, Dan Bucatinsky.
Yeah,
thank you.
I always
always
get nervous whenever I say your last name because my brain, after a few syllables, my brain sort of shuts off after 2 or 3. How many are in there?
And hits of acid.
Bucatinsky, 4.
4.
Plus
Yeah.
Dan is 5.
Yeah, well, there you have it. I lose after. I could get up to Dan Buca.
There, that's good. That's
it.
Dan Buca. You just made him Italian.
Dan Buca.
Dan Buca, exactly, like Bucatini.
Yeah.
Or Dan Buca or Sam Buca.
Yeah.
Easy.
Dan Buca de Beppo.
I, of course, know you because you're a big star, but I worked with you on the TV show The Comeback, which is
We did.
Your show. You're the executive producer. You're the big cheese on that show.
I'm among the cheeses.
Yes,
Among
several
the cheeses.
There's a plate of cheese.
There's a plate of cheeses, and the more important. Of them. No, I was going to actually pass it off to my co-executive, my other 2 EPs, Michael Patrick King and Lisa Kudrow, who created The Comeback.
Yeah,
they wrote The Comeback. They wrote the series, and Lisa came up with that character, and back in 2004, and we shot the first season of it in 2005. Lisa and I have been partners as producers for like 11 years. So producing it again this time around is just like. When does that happen? That you get to bring a show back after 9 years?
9 years later.
Well, never has there been such an outcry from the public. That was taken from us way too soon. I think it was like some of the men I've been with, a slow to grow situation where people didn't know what they were getting until well after the fact. And then they went, Holy shit.
Yeah.
What are we missing
They
here?
found it after. Like we really did benefit from the fact that it played, on DVD, and people found the whole season on DVD. And then a couple of years ago, we were on the Sundance Channel. The entire season played on the Sundance Channel. And right around the time when Veronica Mars was doing a Kickstarter campaign to come back, people were making a lot of noise about like, do Kickstarter for the comeback.
Made sense.
And of course, we would never do that. But, it put it in our minds.
Why would you never do that? You think it's doomed?
No, it's not doomed. It's like it's owned by HBO. It's not like it just felt to us like it's a little rich for us who have a show at HBO owned by HBO. You can't really do a fundraiser for HBO.
But wasn't it Showtime first?
No, it's always been HBO.
It was?
Always.
I thought it jumped networks.
No.
Oh, that's so crazy.
No,
okay.
always been at HBO, and the conversation was with HBO. And
was it a hard sell initially with HBO? Because I got to say, it's kind of an inside joke thing. Because the thing is, the comeback for people who are in show business, we understand what that is so well, and it's so dark in a way, and it rings so true to people. If you've ever been on top and then you sort of slide to the bottom again, and you try to make it back, it rings so true for us.
Or if you've ever been anybody on the outside. Like, to me, it feels like anybody. You see, this is why I feel like it's far more universal than just the industry. A lot about it is inside, which is why it really rings true for people in the industry, music industry, actors. Like, we really, obviously, there's support for it from anybody who's experienced it in a very literal way. But I kind of feel like, the gay community has come out for, whether they're in the business or not. I think anybody who's felt disenfranchised at any point in their lives and felt not only the draw of glamour in the distance, but also feeling like you're so close to it yet so far. The idea of being pushed on the outside, the idea of humiliation, the idea of triumphing and then losing, all of that. Those are very universal themes. They're just extremely visceral when you're in show business because you're constantly batting both of them back and forth, like a cat with a toy. You're being back and forth. And that's what Valerie becomes for us, is like a symbol of that being back and forth. And yet she is, especially this new season, I think there's a level of awareness and understanding of where she is and who she is and exactly what she's doing that was different than the first time round.
Lisa or Valerie Cherish?
Valerie Cherish. No, Lisa knows what she's doing and what did back then too. But I feel like if we talk about what's changed in 10 years, it's like, back then someone says they want to do a reality show and 3 actresses are going to compete to get a part on a sitcom, and whoever gets the role is going to also be on a reality show. It was all so new. And she was sort of like, it's like being caught up in a sweep of excitement and thrown into a party and like, what's going to happen here? And all of it she was sort of, which is one reason why I think it was so painful to watch, because you're watching someone who is not really complicit. They're not quite sure what they're in for. 9 years later, Valerie knows exactly what she's in for. She's practically producing it herself, and she is very complicit in her own fate at every step of the game. And it's just as painful in different ways. I think this time, even last night's episode, whenever this airs, last night there was an episode that is so painful. Like, there's so many personal things that are now at stake. And that's the other thing the show is about. It's like, at what cost are you willing to fight for what you want? Right. And Valerie is someone who wants what she wants. And there's a price. There's always a price. Sure.
But nobody does it better. And I was saying this on a former podcast. We were talking to somebody else. In all the years that we've been watching this thing, there's so many good people that do things well. Dick Van Dyke, for instance, just one of the names that pops into your head. It's specific in what they do. Yeah. John Ritter was amazing at what he did. Lisa is probably the best that there's ever been in awkward and bringing the viewer in to being awkward for her. That is such an amazing talent that so many people strive for, but only she's ever really.
And she hides it behind this smile and like And by the way, Valerie is so different than Lisa Kudrow. Yeah. Like the difference between the two.
We hope so.
But no, usually you're drawing from like a few little I don't know.
Right.
I've known Lisa a very long time, and that is probably
Like
one of the
polar opposite?
farthest. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Just the desire to be that close to the sun.
Right.
It's not something that I see as a big thirst for Lisa, and it is for Valerie.
Yeah.
And the big smile on top of the awkwardness, which is what makes it that much worse,
Yes.
I'm in awe. I mean, I knew how talented she was, but I honestly, as we shot this new season, I was blown away.
Even after 10 years of knowing her.
Yeah, because the layers, even Valerie is pushed to act better than I think Valerie was even ever asked to act. She's suddenly in this HBO series that's really dark, and she's doing stuff that in a million years she would never really get asked to do. That's not the kind of actress she was. You know what I mean?
That's not the kind of actress Valerie Cherish
was.
Yeah.
Like you think about someone like Lonnie Anderson or iconic comedic sitcom actresses.
Sure.
And, maybe it's like Farrah Fawcett, who in a way was like a poster girl and was on...
She did the Burning Bush, whatever that was.
Burning Bed. Suddenly she sort of...
Burning Bush.
She gets...
After a good night.
We all have
Yes.
Burning Bush.
Yes. It's a rite of passage.
You just think that... And this time around, I think we're watching someone who surprises everybody, including herself. And me watching Lisa play Valerie discover the chops that she actually has was amazing.
But you mentioned
so
layers. You mentioned that, and what I know about her, I don't know Lisa Kudrow, but it's the intelligence in every role she's ever done. Her ability to put these textures in there that if you're an audience member, you read this and you see all the work that's put in and how smart.
Go back to Ursula. I'm mad about you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think really, I mean, knowing Lisa like I do, she just, if it doesn't interest her, there's no point doing it.
So respect.
And so for it to be interesting, for there to be a point to do it, it better be interesting. It better be more than just the first thought.
Do you think she would still have that view if she didn't make all that money from Friends?
You know something? It's a very good question. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
Hard to know. Would the last 10 years be completely different?
Right.
We are exactly who we are based on all the building blocks of what came before it. I think so. I think at the core of her DNA is someone who's really smart and likes to do interesting things.
I agree.
Sure, I think that afforded her a certain ability to only do things that she wanted to do deeply.
She
and
could be artsy.
That's the real luxury of that.
Yeah.
If you win the lottery in any way, shape, or form, the biggest windfall really is your ability to make certain choices based on truly what you really want, I suppose, or what's interesting to you rather than necessity.
You know what the most interesting thing about the comeback is, for me, is aside from Lisa's brilliance, is traditionally Hollywood doesn't like to make movies about itself because it sort of breaks the fourth wall, but the audience doesn't want the fantasy to be interrupted, and this show, especially the first season, really does interrupt that
especially with the writers and her issue.
Oh my God, it's so painful
going into the writing room.
So painful to see him. And
he's so good.
If you've spent any time in this business, you've been in that room with that person, then you could tell they just do not like you, and it's like there's nothing you can do.
No matter what you do.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable because, and the truth is, it really is, the problem, the good and the bad of it is that it really does hold up a mirror to those of us who are certainly in it, whether we're writers or actors or showrunners or creators or stars, or even I play her publicist on the show, and I had an episode where I completely freak out because Billy too, as a publicist, is looking to succeed with such a hunger, and it all means so much. And because when Billy comes in, he's a used car salesman. That's why, because you see that and and you're not really supposed to see your publicist.
Don't trust him.
A publicist is supposed to be really good at hiding.
Right.
So is an agent.
Right.
Hide your discomfort. Hide your disappointment. And just like everything on the show, it's all so bald.
Right.
It's all so bald. It's all so stripped away. So even Billy is like, fine. You know what? You don't want to do the interviews that I got for you, then I quit because you were my ticket. And it's like, oh no, don't say all those things. Oh my God, think them. Say them at home.
Billy's also the one who would go outside the diner and beat the shit out of paparazzi or whatever who was there.
Clearly a troubled individual and someone you wouldn't really want to be your publicist.
That's why you loved them, though.
But that's why they wind up sort of this band of misfits winds up being the entourage loyally to a fault for 10 years around Valerie Cherish. And,
And Mickey too.
Oh,
and
Mickey.
too. God love him.
Yeah.
God love him.
Dan Bucatinsky is, of course, the executive producer of this gorgeous comeback show, which is so brilliant, so rich. But you are also an actor, and of course, everybody got to see you as the husband on Scandal. Now, when you were told, when you read the script that said you're going to be killed, what was your reaction?
No, I actually that didn't happen quite like that, because what happened first, Scandal, the writing staff of Scandal works tirelessly to just sort of get the next script out every week. It's like it really was as much of a nail biter as that show is to watch.
Yeah.
It's that much of a nail biter to work on, because the writers finish the draft the day of the table read.
Oh my God, stop.
And so you, hot off the presses is quite literal. You show up to the table read and you can feel the script has just been printed. And some people haven't even read it yet. None of us haven't read it yet. So when
That's exciting though.
it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
on a show like that, which is like playing Russian roulette,
Right.
You're just, you're shooting bullets and you're pulling the trigger around and around and around with your head to your temple, and you're waiting for which one of those bullets is going to be yours.
Right.
And so this script arrives and we read it, and it's the one prior to the one where I get killed. And it ends, by sheer surprise, it ends in the last page of the script is I'm in an alleyway with Josh Malina's character, David Rosen, and a bullet is shot and one of us falls and it goes to black.
Shut up.
And you don't. And so that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like it. We all flip the last page. The room is silent and everyone freezes. And Josh Malina's prankster screams out, "Kill Dan. He already won an Emmy." And I'm sort of in shock. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea this was going to happen.
Up?
No, I don't think they even knew. But it was like where the story was going. One of the two of us was going to get, we were poking the bear. I mean, it sort of was bound to happen to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
So that for the next 3 or 4 days, while that writing staff was now writing the next episode, which was after that moment, we were like, what's going to happen?
Were you baking
need to
cookies
know.
and going at 2 o'clock in the
Bringing-
morning?
Oh my God. I was literally...
Can I wash your car?
I was detailing so many cars.
of course
I
you
detailed
were.
13 cars that week. And they kept saying, we don't know. We don't know. We wrote that. We knew that was the most dramatic thing we can write for that episode. Now we have to figure out what is the most dramatic thing we can write for the next episode.
You couldn't have been maimed. I don't know, lost a
my
ball
God.
or something.
Oh, let me tell you. I'm also a writer. I came up with at least 7 other
sure
options
you did, yeah.
of really good stuff.
Yeah.
So for the next 3 or 4 days, while we were shooting the episode that I just mentioned, we were waiting for the next script to come out. And they truly did not know. And we didn't know which one of us would go, if either one of us would go. Like there were a lot of theories that it would be neither one of us, that the gun was actually, the bullet that you heard was not the bullet that you thought you heard.
Right.
But then I got a call from, on a particular day, I was driving to Grey's Anatomy, where I was working part-time as a consulting producer. Driving to Grey's Anatomy, I pull over to the side of the road because I got a call from Shonda. And I thought, oh, Shonda's calling me to reassure me that it's definitely not me.
I love that way of thinking, though.
I was just hoping. And
You're
so
not a manifest.
I pulled over and Shonda was like, James has to die.
Oh.
And I was like,
Shit.
really? Are you sure he does? Because I don't think he does. No.
I have options.
Let me just tell you some things that could maybe happen that wouldn't be James dying.
Here we go.
But anyway, the most dramatic, the most emotional, and truly the response proves that they, in a sense, made the right decision.
Right.
You as a writer, you are always trying to pick the most gasp-worthy, especially as a writer of drama.
Right.
You are always looking for the most gasp-worthy moments.
Or gag-worthy.
Or gag-worthy.
Yes.
And they certainly got bang for their buck.
And that's
so
just
to
drama.
speak.
That's thriller. That's
And drama, and there's emotional investment in my
Yeah.
character. I was married. I had a baby.
There's a baby
You
involved.
watched the desire to become a parent, and
Yeah.
then becoming a parent, and the desire to become a journalist, and then becoming a journalist. Like you get invested in a character that is sort of fighting for what they want and
course.
getting what they want.
Yeah.
So to lose that character, dramatically speaking, it's delicious. Like I personally, it was devastating to me. But in hindsight now, I realize what a smart writing move it was, and it really did stir up a lot of emotion.
Oh, we were gagged. I mean, watching it, we were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
it was, and it's Greg Perry. Is that
Jeff Perry?
Jeff Perry.
Jeff Perry, one of the creators, one of the founding members of Steppenwolf in Chicago.
Wow.
Yes,
Jeff.
I worked with him on Nash British.
Oh yeah,
many years ago, and he couldn't have been more sweet. And I felt like a better actor with him.
Me too.
Tell me about your experience acting with him.
Amazing. I mean, listen, I've known Jeff for 10 years. He was a friend of mine to begin with. So, and his wife, Linda Lowy. And
he was married to Roseanne's sister.
He was married to Laurie Metcalf.
Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah. They have a fantastic daughter together. And Linda.
She was pregnant with her on the show, wasn't she?
I think so.
So
Back on Roseanne. Yeah. But Jeff is one of the sweetest, most generous actors. He's a great guy. When my husband and I had first had our daughter, we traveled to Mexico with Linda and Jeff. This is now, 8 years ago. And he was so great. He was so great with Eliza, and he was so great with us. And then who knew that 7 years later I'd get a text saying, "Do you want to play my husband's husband?" From Linda. I was like, I'm not sure I understand that text.
What are you saying? Play my husband's husband. Now, okay. So what did Linda have to do with?
Linda casts Grey's Anatomy. She's a casting director for Shondaland.
Oh, I see. So when the first time you had to kiss Linda's husband.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Because he's a buddy he's a married, straight buddy of mine.
Yeah, but you're acting. It is what it is.
Yes.
But did you slip him the tongue?
No.
Why not?
Because you don't want to slip anyone anything when you're a close friend.
So true.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the friend border thing.
You don't want to slip.
Thing,
you sort of want to send something in advance and say,
"Listen,
Jeff."
Well, close friend or not, if you're going to share an on-screen kiss with someone, you got to make sure that you are clean shaven. Bevel will give you the cleanest possible shave. Now, of course, Bevel is that gorgeous company I told you about, the first and only shaving system for men with coarse, curly hair, clinically proven to reduce and prevent razor bumps. 4 out of 5 men reported reduced razor bumps and discoloration and irritation. Designed from the ground up to give you a smooth, bump-free shave. They sent me a kit, y'all, and it is gorgeous. I love it. Really make a great gift. Even the unboxing was an incredible experience. Now, if you want to get your Bevel shaving kit, go to getbevel.com today. Use the code RU and get 20% off your first month. Do you feel that you're closer to him now? Like when you see him and you sort of have to sit on the couch with him, do you like put your arm around him?
Yeah. We're what we went through together happened. I mean, it was fictional, but I mean, we became extremely close. He made me a much better actor than I ever was before.
That's amazing.
He is incredibly generous. The stuff that we got to do on that show, you just don't get to do. It was the biggest blessing working on that show.
Yeah.
And Shonda had a lot to do with it and really pushed the boundaries of what you've ever seen a married couple of 2 guys do.
Absolutely.
One of whom is the chief of staff of the President of the United States.
Yes.
I mean, it was completely,
Hello.
it was besides the point that we were both men. It was besides the point.
Right.
It was political.
Secondary.
It was about our politics of our marriage. It was about the politics of our lives. It was about wanting to be a parent, wanting to be a husband, living in a house. Like, it wasn't really about gay or straight or out or not. It was just about life stuff. And of course, when you are the chief of staff and you're married to a journalist who is voraciously curious and ambitious, you're going to wind up, your pillow talk is going to be dangerous, which it was. And I think they exploited that relationship in a really kind of fun way.
Oh my God.
Which killed me.
Literally. It's such a roller coaster. I mean, it reminds me of those cliffhanger, movies or serials from the 40s or 50s, whatever, where it just takes you that place. Some of the things that happen on that show
amazing,
are crazy. The vice president kills her husband.
Oh yeah, crazy stuff. And this season I'm watching too, and even crazier stuff is happening. So it really is that kind of delicious, guilty pleasure that the show was and continues to be. And I left the show. My last episode we shot in January. And
of this year?
Of this past year.
Wow.
I shot it in January, so almost a year ago. It aired in March. And the week that it aired, I got offered this part on Marry Me, a comedy that I'm now on NBC.
On NBC, right?
And it was really a week it was a depressing week because, it was my final episode of Scandal, and it was a process, saying goodbye to that cast, and there was a process for me. It really took me a couple of
no
months.
more kissing Jeff Perry.
No, now kissing Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows now.
That's right.
Now I kiss
That's
Tim Meadows.
right.
Who's so amazingly talented.
I love him.
Yeah,
I'm
I
working
love him.
through every straight man in Hollywood, apparently, on television.
You slapped.
So now I'm on a very different kind of show, different tone, but a real departure from Scandal.
Yeah, but
also
after that, it's
a
kind of
welcome,
refreshing,
totally,
isn't it? Yeah.
Totally. This is all about laughs.
Yeah.
Well, how are you executive producing, acting on television shows? You have a family life with a child. How do you do all of that?
I'm bad at everything.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it.
That's how you do it.
Well,
Something's got to give, and it all gives.
Yeah.
No, it's a daily struggle. I have a lot of help, and both at home and at work. And Lisa and I are really good yin yang partners with each other. We also produce a show called Who Do You Think You Are, which will come back.
Oh, that's where they go check out their heritage.
Yeah,
right?
We're in our 5th season, and we're on TLC. We will do 6 more episodes.
You should do that.
Oh no, 8 more episodes starting in February.
Well, who's the host of that show?
There's no host. It's a documentary series, and we follow each subject, each celebrity, either athlete or musician or artist or prominent person as they encounter their genealogy.
It's pretty cool.
So we go to Ireland and Europe and Asia, or we stay here in America, depending on where we find documents that lead to an interesting story.
Have you done you?
I haven't done me. I haven't done me because as producer, I think we can always do better than me.
Right. So you're doing that. You're doing all these things. Tell me about having it all, because I always think having it all ain't what it's cracked up to be.
No, and I don't think you ever really think about. I do. I'm very grateful. A lot of things that I've wanted for many, many years. I came out to Los Angeles 20 years ago.
From where?
From New York. Aspiring actor.
You can't tell.
Working in a box office of a theater in Beverly Hills, the Cannon Theater.
Yeah.
And I had big dreams, like everybody, and I was writing and trying to crack that world, and I was acting and trying to crack that world, and it took a while.
Yeah.
And it so happens that a lot of different twists and turns that I had not expected converged 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. I wrote a book. I became a father. A lot of that stuff.
But you found success. I mean, you found success. You first came on my radar probably around 99.
Yeah, I made a movie called All Over the Guy that we made for we made it for $1.50.
Right.
And my husband, Dan Roos, produced it with me, and Julie
you
Davis
married to
directed
Dan
it.
Roos?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 20 years.
Oh my goodness. Because I love, what's that movie he did
The
with?
Opposite of Sex.
The Opposite of Sex.
Lisa.
And the other one, Happy Endings?
Happy Endings.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Those are great movies.
Yeah, he's an inspiring guy, and he's been a huge
I guess I should do my research before I interview
20
stuff.
years.
Okay.
It's fun to experience. Discover it now.
Wow.
So we've been together for a long time.
That's a long time, especially in this industry.
Yeah. And I think, committing to that kind of relationship while you're also both at different places. We were very different places in our careers when we met. We're 10 years apart, age-wise.
Right.
Then we decided to have kids.
Oy.
And and also my own process of coming out and being out and writing this book about and being so open. That was a process for me that took a really long time. And part of that process, I think, ultimately made me a better writer, made me a better actor. I think it all sort of happened at the right time based on the personal growth I needed to make. I think if I had hit it big the way that I wanted to back when I wanted it to, I don't know. I don't know if I would have been at my best, or I don't know whether I would have known what I was doing. So to some degree, I'm older now, and I wish that I had another 10 years ahead of me. I do, but I sort of like everybody.
Are you telling us you're dying right now? It's the breaking
I'm not
news.
dying.
No.
Not dying.
You've got plenty of years ahead of you,
I've got plenty of
darling.
years ahead of me, but obviously, I would have liked to be. I'd love to be
We
10
all
years
would.
younger, as
Yes.
we all would.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because, I know that you're involved with the It Gets Better.
He gets butter?
It gets better. It gets
gets
both.
better or
it
butter?
gets both.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. And I'm conflicted with this concept because on one side of it, yes, it always does, and that's great. But on the other side of it, it gets better because you know how to work it better. Because it doesn't just happen. You have to put in the hard yards to make it work.
I totally agree.
You know?
In fact, It Gets Better is Dan Savage's project that he did online, which is amazing. And people made videos online for It Gets Better, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
But what Lisa and I did this past year is we started a documentary series online called It Got Better, which was...
It done got better.
It done got better, which is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. It was like there was a disconnect a little bit between, the 7th grader who's scared of getting shoved into his locker and listening to, no disrespect intended, listening to someone like Neil Patrick Harris tell people that it does get better, which it does, and it did for him too. And but that 7th grader, is thinking, all right, so what do I have to do now between getting to school tomorrow, not getting shoved in a locker, and hosting the Oscars? There's a lot of work that has to happen. And Lisa and I were interested in merging the idea of our documentary series, Who Do You Think You Are, which puts everything in a historical context, and the idea of It Gets Better, and saying, like, what happens if you were to take a person, that same prominent person who's telling you it gets better, and you hear exactly what was the moment when you realized, all right, wait a second. It wasn't always, it didn't happen overnight. It was like this when I was a kid. This is what was happening in the part of the world that I grew up in. This is the teacher I met, or the person I met, or the friend I had, or the lack of friends I had that forced me to make a move to this part of the country at this time in history, and put it all into context so that you sort of can look at it, a young person could look at it and say, oh, right. So even we did, let's say Jane Lynch, we did her last, we interviewed her last year.
You did her.
I did Jane Lynch many times. No, and she said, at the time I was growing up, the worst thing I could think of to be was that word. I heard that I was walking on the beach with a friend of mine, and he said, those two people are gay for each other. And she thought, as a kid, she's like, oh, that's the worst thing that can happen. That could be me. And she remembers writing in a diary, I am gay, and then ripping up the diary and throwing it into a garbage can, and then going back to get it because she was afraid somebody would read it. I mean, really interesting stuff that is about the time and place that she was when she was 10 years old. And then she told us about the moment where it was like, find your people, no matter what it takes. You're going to have to dig your way out of it, find some strength from your bootstraps and get out of it and she talks about the move to New York and the move into comedy and the finding people in college that she can then. So to me, I wanted to hear, all right, fill in the blanks for us. And then we do our work and we talk about historically, okay, well, you're from this part of the country. And at that time, this is where we were politically. Right. So in an 8-minute documentary piece, you get to hear Laverne Cox, another one where she was talking about what was it like to feel like a little girl, but she was a little boy, and what that felt like at the time. And in the place that she was at that time. Context is everything. Yes. You can't just tell people it gets better.
No.
Right. You need to know.
But it all comes back to consciousness as well.
Yes.
Because it's about realizing it, like you're saying, context, yes. But it's also going, all right, now I'm consciously going to stop wallowing and I'm going to consciously make a decision to make it better.
Totally.
Baby steps.
But what does it take?
Right. What does it take?
What does it take? Right. Is it your constitution? Is it that some people are just born with the ability to not wallow?
Yeah, so that's part of it.
Or role models, or, I mean, literally, oh my God, I was at this Trevor event just 2 weeks ago, and it was the same day that 12-year-old cheerleader killed himself. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what would it have taken? Well, I don't know. And by the way, it may have been nothing. We can't stop every young person from wanting to commit suicide. I remember having suicidal thoughts as a teenager and telling myself, if I turn out to be gay at 18, I'm going to kill myself. I promise. And I was like, why would I make that kind of promise? I didn't even have the kind of parents that were, I had Upper West Side Jewish therapist, liberal parents. Like, there's no way of explaining why I felt that kind of threat.
Because it was society. It wasn't your family life.
Exactly. It was a personal thing. Like, I just didn't want to be that.
Yeah.
Right. So I made that promise to myself, which I didn't keep, thankfully. But
Are you sure you didn't keep it?
I'm pretty sure, unless I'm not really here. which to some degree. No, so that's what's interesting to me. It's like, what is it going to take? What would it take? And so for us, the It Gets Better campaign is amazing, and I support it, and Lisa and I both support it. This was sort of a subset of that, which was a little documentary series, which we're doing on L Studio, which is where Web Therapy started, our web series. Yep. And we're just doing it. And it's a collaboration with Dan Savage, but it's a little bit of what you're talking about. It's like, in 8 minutes, how many people can tell us not just that it does, but how did it?
The how to.
Right.
I love that. You're right. That's exactly.
It's the connective tissue.
Exactly.
It's the tools.
Because it's through those stories that you really get the 1, 2, 3 on how they. But I'm going to back up.
Yeah.
I love Jane Lynch. The term those two are gay for each other. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, she said that as a kid, and when she said it in her interview, I was like, I've never heard that before. And you think of this kid telling another kid, "Oh yeah, you see those two people? They're gay for each other."
That's hot.
And she knew instantly.
Yeah.
That's what she was.
Yeah.
When she heard it.
But now out of that context and just hearing those words, those two people are gay for each other.
Yeah.
It sounds so good. You remember on the Golden Girls where Joe Campanella and George Clooney have to camp out because the people next door are fencing stolen goods? On the Golden Girls, they have these cops living with them for a while as they stake out the house across the
street. Oh my God, I remember that one.
Well, Dorothy and Joe Campanella, I think that's how you say his name, this actor, they have this chemistry, but they exemplify it through they throw jabs at each other. And at one point, he asked Dorothy, "Well, you want to go outside and get some air?" And she says, "Why do you say you want to go outside and get some air? I don't want to." "Okay, I'll meet you out there. Okay, I'm going." And then she turns to them and goes, "I'm crazy nuts for this guy. I'm crazy nuts for this guy." So when you say,
that's what it is.
It's crazy nuts.
Film noir.
These two, they're gay. Those two.
But that's what they used to say in New Jersey too.
They're
He's gay for him.
He's gay for him.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term before.
He's gay for him. You never heard that?
I love it though.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm crazy nuts.
It turns gay into like a really positive.
Yes.
He's gay for him. It's a good thing. I'm gay for pad thai.
Yeah.
I could really take a big plate of pad thai.
We're all gay for pad thai.
Honestly, we're all gay for pad thai.
Who isn't?
God, I'm gay for Mugu Gai Pan.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to have it.
That's going to be our new thing.
Oh my God, that's good.
No, it's brilliant.
I'm gay for the Topanga Mall.
Are you really?
I am. Big
Never
time.
been.
Oh, it's good.
All right.
Got to come out to the
Check it out.
valley.
No, it's all except the 101.
That's 101, yeah.
And what's the exit?
Topanga.
Topanga.
101 South, 101 North. I think you have to get off.
What are the big stores they have there?
There's Nordstrom. Then I always park by Sears because no one ever goes there. There's a huge Target in there too, but there's the Zara there, there's BB there.
But you're acting as though you can't find those anywhere closer.
Where else am I going to go? Park at the Grove and pay $30?
No,
she
you're right.
lives up in Calabasas.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
Yeah, Thousand Oaks Mall is not as good.
Calabasas is great.
Fabulous.
It's
when you have
too
children,
far.
especially.
It's
It
too
is
far.
not. It is not far. Wendy McClintock, hi, lives in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Calabasas is not far. It's all relative. I love to drive. I know which hours to go and which not to go. I also know I'm always going to hit traffic going home. But we have a good mall.
Right. Now, did you learn to drive when you came out here?
No, I grew up in New York City and then I moved to the suburbs. So when I turned 15,
New York
16,
or New Jersey?
Of New York. So up in Westchester. So I learned to drive when I was 15, 16, and then I drove. So when I came here, but I didn't drive well.
Right.
I mean, I literally bought a car at this used Honda dealership the day that I came to Los Angeles. Knew nothing about the law that you had to have insurance before you get. So I took
neither
my
does
car.
anybody else, honey.
The radio fell out of the front of the dash while I was driving on Santa Monica Boulevard, like a block from here, and I rear-ended a hearse
On the first day?
with a dead body in it.
Oh my God!
So if that's not bad karma, I don't know what is.
They only make it
And they
more
were like,
madcap.
"What's your insurance?" I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What's that?
I'm not from here.
have a radio.
No hablo inglés, which wasn't going to work here either. So I had a rough start in LA, but driving wise, but I got my insurance and I fixed my car, and I've been driving ever since.
Wow. Wow. And so so you got out here, you were here for acting, and how did you know that you could become an executive producer?
That honestly, I wound up producing as a means of getting opportunities for myself. Like I wanted to I missed doing theater, so I wrote this play and I produced the play. I mean, I didn't realize I wanted to be a producer, but like no one will care more about a project than the person who creates the project or the producer of that project. So I literally started producing as it felt like a natural, it felt like the only way to make something happen for myself. And so I made this, and so that led to me turning that play that I wrote that was at the Tiffany Theater, which is no longer there. And we made it into a small film. I adapted it into a film, which we made called All Over the Guy. And Lisa did a cameo in my film, All Over the Guy, which is really great. She does a scene in a voiceover booth that's hilarious if you haven't seen it. And about a year later, she was still on Friends. It was nearing the end of Friends. And she kept getting these offers to start a company, like to start a little pod, production entity at Warner Brothers. And she had seen me I was writing pilots, and she saw that I produced my movie All Over the Guy. And so she asked me if I wanted to partner up with her, and nobody supported us. Like they thought, you don't need to hitch your wagon to a sitcom actress. And people kept saying to her, you're going to hitch your wagon to this nobody. And we both were like, I don't want to do a company with anybody else. So we started this company. And in 2003, we were in business, and we produced a television movie. And a year later, we were producing the Comeback. It really became it felt like the natural, well, maybe I have it in my blood a little bit of being in the schmata business. Like it's part of my heritage to sell and know how to sell or know how to put things together. But when you care about your own projects as much as I do, it feels natural to want to be the custodian of it and to see it through.
It's
so
your baby.
I naturally became a producer out of that. And Lisa and I together sort of yin yang each other in a positive way.
What was the TV movie?
It was called Picking Up and Dropping Off. It was ages ago. It was for ABC Family. It was the first thing we did. Like it was it was a month into having our company, and these writers had a script, and ABC Family wanted to do it, and they needed executive producers, and we were like, all right, we'll just hit the ground running.
And who's in it?
Scott Wolf was in it, and an actress named Amanda Detmer. And the two of them did it. It was a sweet, ABC Family, 12 Days of Christmas kind of movie.
Love it.
And it was the first thing Lisa and I did. And then we did 2 pilots that year, one with Aisha Tyler, who had been doing a role on Friends and was in a deal with Warner Brothers. And we did a pilot with her. And, we hit the ground running. And after a while, Lisa and I realized we're doing so many projects that involve other writers and other actors and it really is a numbers game. You need to sort of develop 10 things to get one thing on the air.
It's true. Yeah.
And we both were doing our own thing too. And Lisa said to me, why don't we stop? Why don't we just stop trying to compete in this numbers game and just produce the stuff that we care about? So we made Web Therapy. Dan Roos, my husband, and Lisa and I created Web Therapy as a web series that then wound up on Showtime
so good.
For 4 seasons. Yeah. And we do that because we love it. And the Comeback happened purely out of a passion project for Lisa and Michael, and we produced that. And over the years, we've just focused on the things we care about. We haven't made as much money as the companies that maybe produce 10 or 15 projects, but we also care deeply about the few things that we do. So, I said do.
You said do.
So we became those people. We do a lot less, and we have to obviously all of us do other things in order to make our ends meet. But when we come together to do the stuff we care about, it matters more.
How has Hollywood changed in the time you've been here? I just wanted to, there seems to be with young people today where the paying the dues part of it seems to want to sort of cut that part out of it. There are these pending lawsuits where interns are these class action suits against companies for interns and yada yada. They feel like they should be paid for the money for the work that they did here, and it's like, but sir, you were an intern. You see, that's so. What's been your experience in all these years out here? How has the town changed? How have the young people changed?
Well, I feel like in a way, and we have young people, we have interns who work in our office as well for college credit. We only work with kids who are still in college, but you do notice that part of what's happened to our whole culture because of social media, because of the immediacy that something can be thought and then communicated, filmed and then put out there. I mean, there is something about the lack of patience that that is not necessarily a young person's fault. It is about the times we live in that has made, I think, a generation of people who because of their lack of patience, there's a different kind of work ethic. People sort of expect more faster, get frustrated faster. There's a lot more competition. You know, you really don't need someone to hand you if you have a cell phone, with a camera on it, you can shoot your own movie.
Yeah.
You can shoot your own web series and put it on YouTube and hope people watch it. And how many eyeballs do you get? And then Instagram and then Twitter and then hope you get more followers. And people have become their own studios. Every single individual who wants to be their own studio can be by having their own iPhone and a Twitter account. And whether that's going to be successful or not is the big question. How much talent is really behind it? How much stick-to-itiveness will they really have? But because things are so immediate, the expectation is so much higher. So I feel like entitlement is greater. I notice that the young people, and I don't necessarily know if it's their fault or not. I just don't know whether they are prepared for the amount of work something really takes.
Right. No, I don't think they are.
Like, well, what's the deal? Like, why isn't it, why should I? And why should I have to?
Because that part of it has not changed in terms of nature and how the universe says, there's those 10,000 hours.
And longevity.
And longevity and having the next idea, knowing what your brand is, what it is that you specifically do. It's an interesting thing. And we're all watching this sort of on the sidelines because it's happening before our very eyes. We don't know where it's going to land.
But I also think because of this immediacy business, I think that people don't rewrite, and I mean this in a theoretical way too. People don't rewrite as much anymore. There was a time when you would have to think about what your point of view is, think about what you want to say, and write it, keep it to yourself, work on it, revise it, study it, consider it, and then you put it out into the universe in whichever way you were able to at that time. Now you have a thought, you put it out there, and you think later, is that really what I meant? Maybe not. You can, if you have 140 characters that you can actually write something or think something, you just put it out there. No one, I don't think people consider as much anymore. I'm just as guilty of it. I'm so impatient. I want things to happen right now. I text fast. I email fast. I don't want to call someone and wait for them to call me back. I'm the most impatient person. But I remember a time when writing something meant sitting down and really looking at it and rewriting it and not putting it out into the universe until it was fully baked.
Which is the smart way to do it.
And I think we're a cookie dough generation where nothing's cooked. We're just eating it because it's tastes
raw.
You're eating raw cookie dough.
You're eating raw cookie dough.
Well, but that's the thing about, the comeback that's so brilliant is that it does feel like it has been thought out. I mean, it is so smart. So, there are people who are paying attention to quality material. But then there's also room for stuff that's not quality.
Right.
I suppose,
right. There is. And I think hopefully, as was the case back in the beginning of our business, the cream rises. Some things wind up being very successful that maybe aren't as good as things that don't get as many eyeballs. And that's frustrating. And it probably will always be frustrating. Great films that don't get seen by a lot of people. That's always happened. Sure. And will continue to happen. And a lot of shows that get a lot of hype and maybe aren't that great, but get a lot of hype. So there's always these factors that we cannot control. But as artists, as writer, performers, actors, directors, producers, we should, I think, always try to put the best material out there and fully bake it and hope that let the chips fall where it may.
Right.
If people like it, great. If they don't like it, at least you put out what you thought was the best you can do.
Right.
Because the worst feeling, I remember feeling this way even about auditioning as an actor, as an inexperienced actor. The worst feeling is going into something unprepared or feeling like I just gave that 10%. And you're not likely to get success that way.
No, but don't we always leave going, I could have done better?
Yeah.
I know I have.
You just sort of don't really want to leave it.
10% is pretty low.
10% is pretty low.
Yeah.
You want to put as much of it, out there as you can,
Yeah.
I think, and make it something that you're like, even if I fail, I know that I did absolutely everything I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. We don't always get that luxury.
Right. Now, before I let you go, I want to know what you're gay for. You know, what
What are you gay for, Dan?
Aside from is that not Mughal Gai Ben, you're gay for...
Mine's pad thai,
Thai. Where do you get pad thai? Where do you... Have you ever been down to this place over here by Fat Burgers on Santa Monica? What's that place called? It's called... it's again with the syllables.
I know. It's probably too many.
Yeah, it's too many syllables.
I've just discovered the best Thai food in Hollywood, Jitlada.
What did you call me?
Jitlada. Have you been?
No.
Jitlada. It's right.
Where's Jitlada?
It's nowhere near where I live, believe me. So when we shoot Marry Me at Paramount, so we're near there.
So it's right there.
It's near Normandy and
it's far.
Sunset. It's far.
Yeah.
But there's so much good Thai food in LA.
We'll travel for pad thai.
Thai Town and Vegan Glory and
Vegan Glory down here by the Mandarin.
That's me. I'm
vegan.
vegan.
And Talisai is really good up on Sunset.
Yeah.
Natalie Thai. I'm
I
pointing.
love Natalie Thai.
All over the city of the good Toy, the rock and roll Thai.
Rock and roll
on Sunset.
Toy. Yeah.
You need a TPS, a Thai
I know my Thai
program system.
Well, so you're gay for Thai.
I'm gay for Thai.
What do you order there? Because I always get a chicken pad Thai because I don't know what else to get.
Oh my God, there's so many. The red curries are
Green
so
curry
good.
is so good. Red curry. There's a thing at Jitlada that they call, I'm gluten free because I have celiac disease. So I always have to ask for, do you fry this in tapioca flour or not? But at Jitlada, there's a thing called, they named it, not me, celebrity chicken, which is the most delicious tapioca fried chicken dish with rice, which is fantastic. And all their curries are really, really good. Yeah, I order pad thai, but I also order, when my kids, we order chicken satay because we call it chicken lollipops.
Yes. How many kids do you have?
2.
And do you like them?
I do. I love them.
And
are
they a boy and a girl?
Yeah, Eliza, my daughter's 9, Eliza.
Okay,
and
you
my
still
son,
like her now. That's
still
why.
like her.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Still like her.
She's 9.
She's got her moments.
I've got 2 daughters.
Once they start rolling their eyes, which mine have done.
Yeah, 9 it starts.
It's really
Just wait till 13.
The finger's next. The finger's next. I know. I'm counting.
I wish you
the
Godspeed, my friend.
And
Thank
the boy
you.
is how old?
No, he's 7.
7 and 9.
The butchest, most athletic little straight boy you've ever seen in your life.
Love it.
I've got my work cut out for me.
Yeah.
And so, books and movies. First of all, what are your favorite? My 5 favorite movies are Wizard of Oz, Grease, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark,
Mahogany?
Paris is Burning. It's not my top 5.
Okay.
Paris is Burning, and I'll say Death Becomes Her. I'm missing another. Did I say Elvira? Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Do you have favorite movies? Do you have?
I do, but they move, they shift and they bend. And
what could you watch like right now? If I put it on, you would say, "Oh, I'm going to sit down and watch
Dish."
it." Oh, I love that.
You didn't put Showgirls in there. Was that in there?
That's not my top 5.
Soap Dish I could watch. Oh no, my brain is going to fry. What's the one where Meryl Streep and Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher wrote it?
Yes, Mike Nichols.
I was thinking Postcards from the Edge.
Postcards from the Edge. Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. That's it. You win. I could watch that anytime that it's on. Philadelphia Story, love, classic. Planet of the Apes. I mean, I'm all over the map, but I love Kramer versus Kramer.
That was, oh my God, remember? Literally.
Yeah.
Ordinary People. There's so many great movies over the years.
I mean, it's interesting because you're choosing sort of real dramas, other than Soap Dish. But it's interesting that you're choosing dramas.
Well, Soap Dish is besides Soap Dish. Yeah, what's a big comedic, splashy, hilarious movie that I don't know?
You don't have movies that you watch all the time. You're like, oh my God, let's put Grease on. You don't have that.
I'm thinking if I do
Grease
that.
is a great one to put on.
Yeah. What are yours, Michelle?
Grease is a great one.
I know Showgirls is number 1 for you.
It's definitely top, but I mean, it depends what I'm in the mood for because there's comedies, there's dramas.
Yeah. In your dressing room, what do you have? Do you have something playing?
I play Broadway musicals 24/7.
That's
right. So
right.
I would watch it. Like I have a DVD of Sunday in the Park with George that I can't wait to watch, and I'll be watching on my next plane trip and stuff like that. I'm just a Broadway theater geek. So that's
I am too, though. I love the Broadway
stuff
and the musicals that I mean, I do watch a lot of kids' movies, though. That's part of the problem. I've seen Annie so many times, and the Victor Garber, Kathy Bates version is so good.
Right. Do you try to push your editorial philosophy on, do you have them watch Auntie Mame with Rosalind Russell? Do you do that?
The real one?
I haven't yet. You know what? I haven't yet. My kids are really young, even for their age. Mm-hmm. So we definitely push movies more than TV just because there's something of value in a lot of these movies. We've started watching old reruns of Little House on the Prairie. Don't ask me why.
That's what I'm saying. I bought
and I Love Lucy. Old I Love Lucy's, which quality, and they're also classic comedies. Like we were watching I Love Lucy the other day, and my kids are missing half of the jokes, the grown-up stuff, but they really do get why she's funny.
Yeah.
And I would love that. I'd love for them to sort of understand what is good comedy, what is truly funny, and why.
Right.
And over time, it'll spill over.
I bought Facts of Life. I bought Alf. I bought Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. I bought all these things for my kids when they were younger.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were really important. They were important to me growing up.
Yeah.
So I thought I love Alf. I loved Alf.
I never watched Alf in my entire life.
I have Boy Meets World, super important box sets that I thought. And these days I make them watch Roseanne, which is my number two. Number one's All in the Family. I make them watch All in the Family. Number two, Roseanne. Number three, Golden Girls. Those are my favorite top three of all time.
Your kids are older.
12 and 14.
I think when my kids are 12 and 14, I'm going to want them also to watch All in the Family and those shows. Those are so pivotal.
Ahead of time.
For me, I was obsessed with I Dream of Jeannie as a kid, and I put in one for Eliza the other day, and I was
Did she like it?
She did, but I was like, I don't want her to watch this. It's a girl in a harem outfit with blonde hair who's just like throwing herself at this astronaut.
Yeah.
And a flag on the play.
Right.
So I just stopped it right there.
What's interesting thing about that is that, Bewitched, on the other hand, is different because Bewitched is about an ascended master who's actually dumbing herself down just so she could fit in for love.
Correct.
But she can't, as dumb as down as she tries to get, she can't get there because she's always the smartest one in the room. Right. Always. Right. Smarter than anybody. And it's brilliant. And it's interesting that one, more than any of the others, still sticks around because of that reason.
I think so, too.
You know. But listen, we are gay for you, Dan Bucatinsky.
Thank you.
You're brilliant.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for all the things that you're going to do because you're smart. Your partner,
smart.
Lisa Kudrow, Dan Roos.
Yeah, they're
smart,
good.
Smart people.
And he wrote
Good, smart
Single
people.
White Female, Dan Roos.
He did.
One of my favorite movies. That's one of my favorites of all time.
Well, one of my favorites is one of Don's movies, but I don't like to say it because it seems obvious. But The Opposite of Sex is such a great
it's
piece
so
of
brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so well written and so
well written.
So I'm a fan of his.
Because that Christina Ricci character is the voice of a gay man.
Oh, totally. That was Don.
She's an over it gay man which is, by the way, your other Michael Patrick King. That's why Sex and the City is so smart because they're the voices of gay men spoken by white women.
Correct.
Story
of my life.
Story of your life. And but that kind of brilliance is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm gay for.
Okay.
Good. So
you're gay for a lot more than that, bitch.
So but I'll be seeing you soon for the It Done Got Better
good
storyline. And thank you so much for being on our
Thanks for having me. This is so fun.
You,
Happy holidays.
Same
thank
to
you all out there in podcast land. Bye.
Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.